and thank you for choosing to listen to Horse Heroes on Tour UK edition. This is a podcast where Floor Schoonmakers from EHS Communications talks to equestrian entrepreneurs and superstars in open-hearted, frank and honest one-on-one conversations. My name is Jack, and I truly hope you enjoy listening to some amazing stories from the world of British and Irish equestrian. Put your feet up, relax, and enjoy.
Let's get started with the dilemmas. Hickstead Speed Derby or Hickstead Derby?
Derby.
Global Champions Tour or a competition with the mini breens?
Mini breens.
Buying or selling horses?
Selling.
Play it safe or take risks?
Risk.
Okay, and now then the intro tune is coming. Then I have your intro.
My voice is a bit croggy, so if I need to cough, I'll just...
Oh, that's
swallow
fine.
away.
That's fine. My voice is always really...
I was hunting last week, so for 5 days, that's how I got the scars.
With the trees.
Yeah, in Ireland we go through the bushes, and then I have 2 super horses there, so I like to go first.
Ah!
So then you get the first of the... That's not the idea to cut your face, but it's more for the thrill.
Yeah, if you want to.
You'll hear it in the interview.
Yes.
Hunting was quite a part
Of the thing. Okay. He was born in Limerick and got his first pony at the age of 5 and hunted during his childhood. He believes this hunting background has served him well, especially as he has contributed to winning... Again, I'll do it again. He was born in Limerick and got his first pony at the age of 5 and hunted during his childhood. He believes this hunting background has served him well, especially as he has contributed to winning many derby-style competitions. He competed for the Irish team for many years, has over 20 years experience in buying and selling horses. His motto is believe in yourself. Today I'm a guest at the fantastic green team in Hickstead to talk to the talented showjumper SHANE Breen. Hello, Shane.
Hello, Thor. How are you?
Thank you very much for having me over here. As lovely, lovely, lovely house. I just seen a little bit of it.
You're very welcome.
And we're at the Hickstead jumping grounds, or how do you call it here, where we are?
Yeah, the Hickstead show jumping arena. So this is the home of the founder of Hickstead, Douglas Bunn.
Yeah.
So Chloe and I and our 4 kids live here now, and yeah, it's a beautiful home, as you see, and it's a great honour to live here for me and my wife Chloe and our 4 wonderful kids, Lorna who's 14, Darcy who's 12, Douglas who's 8, and Wolfie who's 7.
Yeah.
So you know, it's a great world for them to grow up in as well.
Yes, of course. I just met some of them and bringing in tea and cookies and really, really, really lovely children. For this interview, we always start way back in time. So I'm very interested to hear your story, where you grew up, and can you tell me something about that? Where you came
from? My mother and father are John and Mary Breen. And my father's background, he was a banker, but his father and siblings were, some of them were into the horses, primarily it was hunting, and one uncle, James Breen, he went into the show jumping side of things. So for me it was more my dad brought us into the ponies and introduced ponies and introduced us to pony camp through the hunting, and that was really the start of it for me. My first day out hunting, I think I was 7 years old and I had 7 falls.
Oh wow.
But that didn't put me off, so that was a step in the right direction, I suppose, and it evolved from there.
Yeah, and you grew up with brothers and sisters?
Yeah, so I have one older sister and one younger brother, and my sister is still very keen on the hunting, and my brother Trevor, he's also a very famous show jumper, and enjoys a little bit of hunting. And a very good rugby player, so he follows the rugby very much.
Oh wow! But when you were a child, did you go to school as well back then?
Yeah, my mother was very Catholic, as was my father. So I went to was educated in Cashel, where we grew up, and then I went to the Christian Brothers and served my time there. Did my junior cert, and then the horses kind of seemed to take over a little bit from there. So I started going to quite a few pony shows. I got my first kind of affiliated pony when I was 10 or 11. She was called Skellig Lady. She was a good little pony. And it went from there then to 13 twos and a very good pony called Pewter. And then from there to 14 twos, I had a very good pony that my father bought me called Arctic Sprat. And he went on to win the Dublin Championship for the 148s in the RDS.
And how old were you then?
I was 14 or 15. And then I had another loan of a pony from Pat Finn called Mr. Boogie, which was a famous pony before I had him, and he took me to a European Championships where we won the silver medal. Marlon Bayer Johnson and myself jumped off, and I had a fence down 2 seconds faster, but I had a fence down.
Yeah.
Clear. But it was great to win a silver medal, great honour. So the 148 bracket was very good to me, and you know, kind of more you know, flourished the bug, if you like, that was in me for the show jumping. But then I took a little adventure with the racehorses.
Oh, okay. How did that happen?
Tommy Wade, who was the Irish chef to keep at the time, he also trained some racehorses for point to points, and then those horses would be sold then to the UK.
Yeah.
Which many of those went on to win Gold Cups and Grand Nationals and everything, so he had a very good eye for a thoroughbred, and it was a great place to go and try out if I wanted to be a race jockey or not.
Yeah.
So I rode there alongside his son Robert Wade, and the head jockey there was Michael Phillips, and we all got on really well. I used to go out in the mornings at 5:30, and I'd ride 5 or 6 lots, and it was really enjoyable. It was quite challenging in different ways, but it gave you another element of fear, if you like, where you had this powerful machine that could bolt off at you at any time. So I think it gave you a bit of an idea of how you have to give and take with the horses, and don't get yourself in a situation where you get run away with. Try and defuse the situation. So those horses put quite a bit of knowledge into me in how to handle a situation. And then the day came where I had the opportunity to go and ride in a race. But at this time I had some owners that had given me some horses of theirs to ride. So my father said to me that I should make a decision, whether it's show jumping or racing. So I've said this quite a few times, that we rang up Tommy Wade and asked him to come in, and I asked Tommy, what do you think? Give me an answer. And he said, well, Shane, I can't give you the answer, but I can tell you 2 things. If you go into the racing world, you'll probably break every bone in your body and you'll be retired when you're 40. And if you go show jumping, you're a bloody idiot if you're still riding them after 60. So I think it was sound advice.
It was, yeah. But how did your parents feel about you with racehorses when you were younger? If it's so dangerous, then...
My mother didn't like the idea at all. My father was like, you gotta decide what you want. And then I had 1 or 2 uncles that are quite involved in racehorses, so they were really keen that I'd be a race jockey. But when I made the decision to go show jumping, I think everybody was happy.
But just to get an idea, because I really don't know a lot about the race world, what are the rules? Do you have to be very thin or light, and what's the difference between the sport? Yeah, except the sport, but I mean for you as a rider, how different is it?
I think as a rider, it's the main difference is as a rider, to sit on the horse, you're obviously riding so much shorter, and the reason to ride short is so that you can hold them, so that you can pull on. When you pull on your arms, your legs are helping you as well.
Yeah.
To hold them, to keep them steady in a race early on, and then the jumping is quite different. But then again, the pace you're going at, everything like that. But you know, it does help you to train your eye to pick up a stride from far, far away.
Yeah.
And that you have a good distance and that you can ride at a high speed. I think the risk side of it, it's if you doubt yourself, well then it's not for you. But that's, I think, that's like doing anything. It's like riding to a puissance wall, or it's like going out hunting. If you have an element of fear, and if the horse senses the fear, then you've only got a 50-50 chance of clearing the obstacle. Yeah. You got to have full confidence, and I think racing helped me in that a bit. That I was a bit fearless, if you like, but then I was young and innocent. But even to this day, with hunting and that, I'm still a little bit fearless. But
yeah, you just told me about the scars.
I know. We were hunting last week, so I got a few bushes in the face. But you know, I have fear is only like I have fear if I don't hunt the likes of Bart or some of these other horses that are fantastic horses.
Yeah.
So I think you're only as good as the animal you're on, I think.
But did you ever experience a scary moment during racing that you remember, that you thought, okay, you're not sure if you even ever wanted to do that again?
I was fortunate. I didn't have a bad fall racing, but I never raced under rules.
No.
So I schooled and did all that, but when I had to make the decision if I went under rules or not, I opted to go show jumping. One day schooling, Michael Phillips, myself and Robert Wade, we were three in a line, and we jumped 2 jumps up one side, and we came around the bend, and then we 3 or 4 jumps down the other side. And when we came off the turn, we were told to all stay in the line, but I thought I saw a good stride, so I was pushing on. And the problem was, one of the other horses, 2 of us took off and jumped, but one of the horses took off way too soon, because it was like a little bit behind us. So when it saw the other 2 take off, it took off with them. So then that one hit the top of the fence and somersaulted over, and the rider fell out in front of my horse.
Yeah.
So, you know, that puts an element of, like, this is the risk. This is what can happen.
Yeah.
But it wasn't something that frightened me that day, or kind of said to me, racing isn't for you. That I never looked back and thought, oh, that could happen. Yes, anything can happen. But I'm a bit like, anything can happen, you know.
Yeah, and you're also, what you were saying, if you're young, then you might be a little bit more fearless.
Yeah, when I look at like some of my really good friends, like Paul Carberry, who's retired now, or you know, Ruby Walsh, or Barry Garrity, or AP McCoy, and I think, you know, they're all retired now, and I kind of grew up with them. Yeah. And I think, you know, those guys, I absolutely take my hat off to those guys, because I wouldn't have been able to do what they do. No. Or what they did, like the risk they took and everything. I think I made the right decision when I was 16 to go show jumping.
And what happened then? You made the decision to go show jumping. What happened in your career after that?
So then after with the ponies, that was a big highlight. Then I went and I did the junior Europeans with a 7-year-old mare called Diamond Heather that Jimmy Flynn very kindly gave me, and we finished 4th individually. And then I did the Young Rider Europeans with a horse called Macho Man in Mill Street, and unfortunately, just for the final, he had done a suspensory, so that was a bit of a blow because we were lying in pole position up to that point. So, but you know that's how the sport goes, you know. But I think going even in those stages, my biggest supporters were my family, definitely my mum and dad, but also my uncle James Breen. He was very involved and enjoyed going out finding young horses, and then I would ride the horses, and James and my dad would drive the trucks to the shows, and like only for their support, I would never have made it to where I did.
For where you are now.
I probably would have had to, you know, go and get a job somewhere.
Yeah, but back in these days, were you still at school as well, next to all this riding?
When I got a bit more serious, like when I was 16, I left school, to be honest. And because we had so many horses in, and then obviously I wasn't doing any of the homework, and then I was getting into a lot of trouble at school, and so it was kind of like, and then kind of the dealing side of it came in, where I was buying and selling quite a lot of ponies and horses, and
where did you live back then? Where did you have your stable?
Cashel, County Tip. So that the stable that I worked out of is where my father lives now.
Yeah.
And it's rented out now to a person who has his own business, buying and selling horses, and yeah.
But that's when you quite young then as well started to do this, to be buying and selling horses.
Yeah. Yeah, and then it was actually really. I think it was more with the. I got a little bit more involved with the hunting.
Yeah.
And then as I got more involved with that, I started buying and selling more horses, and then I was kind of an honorary whip with the Scarteens, and that I really enjoyed, and now today I'm actually a joint master with the Scarteen hunt.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, since 2 years, so that's very nice too.
Yeah, but how did you get more involved in the hunting? What was the reason for that? Something must have happened.
Yeah. My dad enjoyed hunting a lot.
Yeah.
So on weekends, Saturdays and Sundays, we used to go hunting, along with my brother and sister, but they weren't quite as keen as I was. And then my uncle was very much involved in hunting, and he did a lot of hirelings, and I saw that. I kind of saw how much he enjoyed it, and then I started doing it, and I just really enjoyed it. I enjoyed meeting the people that I gave the horses to. I just enjoyed waking up in the morning and going out and working with horses, and be it going to a show or going hunting or whatever the case may be. I just really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I'd done a few international shows when I'd done like the Europeans and things like that. And then when I got Macho Man, I did a couple of senior nation cups. So that was actually the first time I came to Hickstead was in 1995.
Yeah.
On the Irish team, and that was incredible. We had a really good show, and I got to see Hickstead, got to ride in the main arena, so that was pretty amazing. And then got to come back the following year, and then the following year is when I first saw Chloe.
Oh, here at Hickstead.
Yeah. So
Oh.
Chloe would have been quite young then. I was quite young as well, and but I just saw her, met her, and then we stayed in touch for a few years, and then Chloe went to university, and then Macho Man was lame, and I had some other horses, but they weren't quite good enough. So then I wasn't doing the international shows. I was doing the national circuit at home in Ireland. And then in 2006, 2004, Vinnie Duffy rang me up and asked me would I take World Cruise. That he was a 7-year-old but had no experience.
No.
So I took him and I did the national circuit in 2004, 2005. Then I got on some teams in the second division. And then in 2006 was on the team again in Hickstead here, and well, actually going back a step, I went to Arezzo, and that's where I met Chloe again. We were actually stable across from one another. So then...
But what was Chloe doing then?
Chloe was riding as well.
Yeah.
So she had taken a year out from her studies. She's a barrister. So she had taken a year out to try out having a professional career with the horses. So we met in Arezzo in 2006, and the rest is history.
The rest is history. But for the people who are listening who don't know who Chloe is, can you explain that a little bit?
So the reason why I would have met Chloe here at Hickstead was because she's the daughter of Douglas Bunn and Lorna Bunn, and Chloe was riding her horse here in the junior division, and we just met riding around on the horses, and so then many years later when we met in Arezzo, we obviously knew one another, and we sparked up a relationship straight away, and then Chloe came to Ireland for a little while, but the logistics because I had World Cruise and I had Mullidren Gold Rain and Dorada and those horses, I had horses to do the international tours again, so it made more sense to base in Hickstead.
Yeah. And
Douglas Bunn was quite keen to have all the horses around again, and he really enjoyed the conversations and hearing what's happening in the show jumping world, and yeah, he has given me loads of advice.
Yeah.
On many different subjects.
And when did you When did you came here to Hickstead? What year was that?
So Chloe and I moved here then in 2007.
In 2007.
Yeah.
And there was also a time when you went to Nelson Pessoa.
Yeah, that's right. I went to Pessoa's in 1995. I won a bursary for a 2-week bursary.
Yeah.
To train with Nelson and Rodrigo, and
but that's something special because you were then still very young.
Yeah, no, that was an incredible experience, and you know, you'd learn as much watching Nelson and Rodrigo ride as you would being taught by them, you know.
Yeah.
And I used to just sit and I'd watch them ride, and then I'd watch them teach other people, and obviously when they were helping me, you'd try and absorb as much as you could.
Mm. And then you got here, so it's 2006. You were based here at Hickstead.
2007.
2007
full time. Yeah,
And-
living here.
And what happened after that?
So then, Chloe and I were doing the shows, and then Chloe was pregnant with Lorna, so Chloe had to stop riding then. So I kept doing the shows and one thing or another, and then still kind of doing pretty much the same thing as in doing the shows and dealing, and then some other young people from Ireland used to ring up to see if they could come over training. So David Simpson was the first person who came over training, and many more followed after that. And then we looked into. I always quite liked the breeding side of things.
Yeah.
And my cousin and we had bred Cause I Can, which I had jumped on Nation Cups and had won Grand Prix and everything. So Douglas Bunn had some mares here that he had handed over to Chloe. So we got kind of quite interested in the breeding, and that has multiplied greatly. So now at Puckborn Farm we have our own stud. So we have 12 stallions, and
They're all here. They're here.
they're all Hickstead, all part of Hickstead Breen Equestrian, and the stud is called Puckborn Farm.
Yeah.
And that's exciting. It started yesterday last year. Sorry, not yesterday. With the breeding side of it, with the stallions, our own stallions.
Yeah.
Golden Hawk, Colmar, Lucky Luke. There's many of them there. Canyon McCann, and it's exciting. It's it's interesting to match up genes and see how they turn out and give them a jump when they're youngsters, and so that's an exciting project that we started many years ago, and it's developed up into something quite good now, I think.